Hello, all you fans of Rando out there, and welcome to this Speed Gaming presentation of the Link to the Past Randomizer Open League Playoffs. We have Game 2 for you today between the Hyrule Houlihans featuring Bumble and Sweet Dancing 89, and Drei, Nasen, tanken featuring Osora and Sea Fate 91. I am MindDM, and I'm flying solo today, which is going to be a whole lot of fun as we have these two teams competing in co-op duality. Co-op duality is a bit of a quicker mode on the quicker end of things. Co-op as all of these playoff matchups are. And here's the thing about duality. One of these players on each team, and it's not predetermined, so they get to decide this during the match. One of these players must collect all 3 pendants and pull the pedestal. The other player needs to collect 5 crystals and go beat the pig. Now, it is a fast pig. The GT Big Key does not exist, so no GT climbs. There is a 1 crystal requirement for GT entry, so once you have your mitts and otherwise have access to Ganon's Tower, the chances are pretty good that you're going to need to go fish around in there and find some of the things that you're going to need to complete at least one of, if not both of those goals. So it'll be fun. Our runners will be underway here fairly shortly. In fact, we've got Sea Fate kicking this thing off right now, and yeah, look forward to this one. It probably doesn't take more than about an hour and 15 minutes, so a bit of a lunch rush rando for those of you on the western side of that big pond that separates us from all of these lovely German runners for whom it is already evening. Looks like Tier 1 tree pull, not anything particularly valuable. Sea Fate, we're getting a little sync on, so we'll find out what this hoarder has in just a second. I missed it. Maybe it was more small cash money? Got some bombs that Osora and Sweet Dancing find in the Uncle Tunnel. Nice to have. As you try to figure out what you want to do in the early days, being that it's co-op, you probably take those. Looks like both of them want to go scout Hylia Island, and probably going to wind up over in Saha's closet. Get a quick 3 checks. So as I may or may not have mentioned in the little introductory spiel there, Drei, Nasen, tanken up 1 game after taking the ADKDB, the All Dungeons Key Drop Key Sanity with Boots match yesterday, looking to try and close this thing out and go take on the long shots in the grand finals. This is the finals of the Open League's Light World Conference. Long shots having cleaned up in the Dark World Conference, having taken down both the Open League's overall regular season champion in Blackjack and Hookshots, who went 12-2, and then following that up by absolutely mopping the floor, unfortunately, in that Cross Keys Game 2 to take the series against more than just another alt. Now they're sitting here waiting and wondering if today tells them that Drei Nasen is going to be their opponent, or if we're going to see a Game 3 in this set. Bumble pulling Flippers off of the race game here. Probably going to want those. Now, maybe Swamp is a crystal, maybe it's a crystal that you don't have to do, but then again, there are 10 checks in there. Maybe you have to do it anyway. We do have a couple of runners in Eastern Palace here. We'll see over the course of the next couple of minutes if they manage to pull anything interesting from this dungeon, or if this is just an early dive to try and keep things split up while their partners clean out Kakariko Village. Looks like Sea Fate's End had a lamp and some boots. Bumble is coming at this from the opposite direction, so I expect that we're going to see those again here shortly. And Osora says, "I've seen enough Eastern Palace. Let me go collect some things that are nice, like red footwear that makes me go fast." Keys to pod, maps to dungeons. Looks like the bottle vendor not really handing out anything all that interesting. Now, Sweet Dancing has gone a little out of nominal logic here. We know where that lamp is, so not as out of logic as it could be. This could have some value. But it's just a piece of heart. With that, the initial hoovering up of everything in Kakariko Village is over from the first two runners to have gone there. We'll see South Shore now pretty clearly. Because boots and flippers and a lamp are nice, but we haven't really found anything that changes yet. Like the flippers, I guess you get onto the flipper checks while you're on South Shore, which is kind of your next play anyway. It'll work. Still looking for essentially all parts of Dark World access. Maybe Mini Moldorm Cave has some value for us here. Sea Fate's going to go in with bombs and, well, some more bombs. Looks like these Mini Moldorms are being reasonably cooperative. Mirror, alright. A little bomb replenishment. A little more bomb replenishment. Yeah, alright. I mean, that mirror's nice, don't get me wrong, but we can't do anything with it yet. Get a little bomb front of escape from Osora here. We'll see if there's anything interesting. Sooner or later, the game is going to hand these runners a repeatable weapon, but for right now, we get to see all the fun bomb strats. Interesting. We have a bottle there in Ice Rod Cave. So, one additional check that we probably don't really want to go back for all that quickly. And both Bumble and Sea Fate doing a little bit of beep strats here over in the Ice Rod Cave area, and oh yeah, there's that crabbage. Bumble being introduced to crabs that do far too much damage for a Light World enemy. So, if the small child laying in bed has something interesting, Hyrule Houlihans going to be a little later to it, potentially. Maybe there's another bottle somewhere convenient. We don't know that yet. And it could be that the kid's just holding on to 3 bombs. Classic 1940s kid playing with an explosives kit in bed, like you do. Looks like Osora does have a Hyrule Castle Small. Yeah, it looks like the Hyrule Castle Small was available, so going all the way through here with this lamp, totally in logic. Big key to Mire, another one of those things that's probably nice to have for later, but really doesn't change anything right now. See if the old scamfish has anything interesting. Spit out a partial return on investment. Here's your life lesson. Don't engage in commerce with anything that has gills. Was that the fairy vending fairies there that I just saw from Mumble? Convenient if true. $20 at Bonk Rocks again. Not helping, game. At some point, we have to find at least a couple more pieces that get us into the Dark World, or get us up the mountain, or something. We're kind of running out of checks. I mean, we do have that glove that Bumble and Sea Fate have off of Zora Ledge, which is part of that Dark World access package, but I guess plus the mirror that gets us into a situation where we've got some access up here on the mountain. Sea Fate's going to go up and show us. Yeah, potential weaponless Hera incoming. That's a choice. Make sure you've got some bombs. There are a few switches that you have to hit. Sea Fate's fine in that regard for the moment. I missed what the inside spec rock item was, but Sea Fate's turning his nose up at it, so we'll just ignore the fact that that exists. Another bottle on top, okay. Safety, you don't turn it down, especially if you wind up turning into the Kill Ganon player. Ah, the Moon Pearl is the sunken item. Okay. Okay. So we're a little closer than I thought we were to Dark World access. We need one more glove or a hammer. Hammer would be nice. Makes it a little easier to split up on those early Dark World checks. Osoda's over at Agina. Let's see if Agina's got anything interesting. That Spear 1 location that so often goes into... Yeah, there's your hammer. Alright, so... Let's see. Osoda could go up the mountain and do some more mountain things than Sea Fate was able to. Sea Fate probably winds up being the person who goes and starts doing Dark World things. One would kind of expect. That was... what was that Sick Kid was handing out there? Blue cane, okay. So, hammer, glove, blue cane, we've got a moon pearl, logical spike cave, anybody? Hey, you may need to find a little magic before that'll work, or go ahead and fill up your bottles with those berries that the waterfall fairy's vending. That would work, potentially. You get a lot of iframes out of those. Looks like Sea Fate wants to enter the Dark World at 4. Bumble is going to have this look around inside Tower of Hera, which is not going to yield a whole lot as we've seen. And Bumble says, can I have some hit points, please? Like, everything about this seed has not really been kind and generous in the early going. Can I have some hit points? And Osoda is going to go up the mountain along with his hammer. Now, this could just be grab a save and quit point and then save and quit and go do other things, but then again, maybe not. Nah, alright, we'll see a little continued here. Bumble again saying, give me some of these hit point things. I feel the lack of them. And Sweet Dancing is going to find that hammer for the Hyrule Houlihans. I'm sure Tyler is in chat scouting this this matchup very anxiously, is seeing that once again these German runners have no fear of just going and checking Pyramid Ledge. Could be something that works in their favor against the long shots. sweet dancing, the first of the Houlihans to get into the Dark World here. Going to head over to Hype Cave, which we've seen once. Ooh, Osora meeting with a mini Moldorm is going to expend that fairy from Waterfall Fairy. All for a small key to Mire. Both fishes handing out somewhat middling denominations of cash. Now, Catfish you don't have to give 500 to find that out, so there's that, but it's still a bit of a run for not a whole lot of return. Paradox 5 doing a little big key, small key, but again, not really seeing a whole lot out of this. Things that you're likely to need eventually, you're not turning them down, but do you really want to go to pod with one small and the pod big and no bow? Maybe, maybe not. We don't even have, for a whole host of reasons, we don't have access to Turtle Rock yet, so that Turtle Rock key doesn't really mean anything to our runners just yet. Mire small on Hylia Island? I'm gonna tell you right now, chat, I hate the seed and I'm not even playing it. I don't know what this seed wants. I don't think this seed knows what it wants. I mean, maybe Sea Fate finds some interesting things here in Skull Woods. It looks like he's turned a cape up, so maybe Bumper Ledge has something. There's another one of those pod smalls. Yeah, looks like there may have been a swingy in here too. Alright, so a sword. A sword is acquired. We like those. And Osora into pod on one pod small, just gonna open the front door, entirely reasonable. And Osora going to give us the right side pod hover. Ooh, slightly off the pixel, and so drops it into the pit. We'll try again. Getting just a little too far right there is kind of what that looks like to me. And I missed what that key was that Sea Fate pulled off of Bumper Ledge, but it's a key. You pulled it off of Bumper Ledge, it's fine. Sweet Dancing wanting a little bit of a health refill here, going to go ahead and take the Death Warp out of the Vanilla Big Key location of Skull Woods. So rather than the right side pod hover, we get the nice bufferless mimic clip out of Osora. A more reasonable piece of tech that probably a few more people are competent in than the right side hover. But you know, when you've got both of them in your back pocket, why not? Ah, speaking of swords, we've got a sword behind the bow and pod. That's always a fun time. It's not exactly a bow-locked bow, but you know, we take these. Sweet Dancing picking up the first of those swords, the Skull Woods one for the Hyrule Houlihans. I expect we'll see Bumble take a turn to the north for that before too much longer. Front of Thieves Town with a mushroom. Oh, good. That's a little off the beaten path. I guess you can do some swimming and whirlpooling to get where you want to go. We do seem to have a flute, though. So maybe we just flute to 2 and turn that in real quick. That's possible. Once again, we seem to be living in a world where we don't have a whole lot of additional options. It's one of those kind of anti-co-op seeds where it feels like every time you look, you're down to another last location, because what the game wants is just kind of spread out in really not even rando locations, but random locations, and good luck following the breadcrumbs. Ah, we've got a medallion and graveyard ledge, so Quake on the table. We don't have mitts yet, so we have no idea whether or not we're going to need it. Ah, King's Tomb with another one of those pod smalls. Looks like Sweet Dancing is going to be right on the heels of those couple of pickups. And speaking of answers we're looking for, that answer is not on Dig Game either. Ah, well, such is life, apparently. Speaking of, one additional heart container is sitting there on Stumpy. Okay, there we go. See Fate finding the next big answer. We have Mitts and K45. All of a sudden, we've got some Dark Mountain we can play with. We've got the Mire area. Don't have access to Ice Palace yet. We're going to need a Melt Source before that happens. Bumble also landing on those Mitts. So both of our teams have roughly the same information at roughly the same time. Liar's Shed not yielding anything really interesting for Sea Fate there, going to backdoor into Desert. And Meyer is available with that Quake Medallion. How badly do you want to go into no Big Key, no Cane of Samaria Misery Meyer right now? Probably not all that badly. But again, even with those nits, there's only so much more we can do. You can go do myth sequence with them, like Bumble's doing, and pick up hammer pegs. That's something that one side can do. It looks like maybe Oswara does that for Drei Nasen. Meyer not really on the table yet for Sea Fate. Personally, would need to go grab that Quake Medallion before that can happen. But maybe the small key in Checkerboard Cave does something interesting. Ice Palace? Not really. Again, with no melt source, we're not going in there yet anyway. Now, maybe at some point we get a crystal pickup somewhere and get into GT. There's not a whole lot that can happen in there logically, though, yet. We got a hammer, but no hook shot, so we could get, what, four logical checks? Now, you could do some bomb jumps or some hovering over there on the left side and get substantially more checks than that. It is possible. But logically speaking, there's still not much there yet. Another small key of questionable value in purple chest. Okay, game, at some point here, we're going to have to allow these runners to start clearing dungeons. It is required for both goals that you complete some dungeons. Judging by Oswara's HUD, we do know that Desert Palace is a crystal. Now, if you wanted to try and make a choice really early as to who was your pendant and who was your crystal player, you could steal a small key and do some shenanigans here. Check right side. Or you could even just steal it and save scum it. That would also be a potential sort of play. Sweet Dancing has taken that Quake Medallion and all of the other things and is going to go ahead and start showing us Misery Mire. This will be fun. Rock Small? Okay, again, we're not in a position to use those. I feel like that's really the common refrain of the seed. Thank you, game. We have received this, but we cannot use it yet. Now, there was a bow in the map chest of Desert Palace, so Osora is going to take that along with the Eastern Palace Big Key that I missed when Osora picked that up, but it's fine. As long as you have the key, it doesn't matter when you got it. And it doesn't matter whether the commentator noticed you get it or not. Ah, we have a Swamp Palace small key. Sweet Dancing finding that in Misery Mire. That's a bit of an option. Now, without a hook shot, maybe you want to be a little greedy and not go in there just yet. Looks like Sea Fate has some interest in trying to hover Hookshot Cave. We're going to drop the first one, though. And says, no, you know what? One try was good enough. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. Oh, and then sniped by a Lionel, trying to get that dash start, and Lionel said, nope, here, I'm going to consume that fairy for you. Ah, and we had a Hera small from somewhere, so Sea Fate going to give us a little Hera basement action. Oh, Bumble is going to go to Pod, has that bow, going to find that bow-locked sword. Probably do a little more in here as well, has some small keys to work with. That looked like a Desert Palace small. Sweet Dancing going to be in very good position to just go have a look-see there. Another Pod small as well. Just go to Misery Mire and get all of the potentially actually useful small keys, apparently. Eastern Palace, a crystal. Finally, a dungeon on the board. Osora, the first of these four runners, and Drei, Nasen, tanken, Toxic, the first of these two teams to have a crystal. That, if he's so inclined, would let him into Ganon's tower. Sea Fate going to expend one of those bottled fairies, getting through Spike Cave. We'll see Bumble is in Eastern Palace here. Has that bow, has that Eastern Palace big key, going to put that crystal on the board here for the Hyrule Houlihans before too much longer. And I missed the first check of Right Side Desert, but the second one certainly wasn't interesting. Piece of Heart at this point in the proceedings, not really something you're looking for. Looks like Drei is planning to double team here on Pod a little bit, or Sea Fate may just be bringing the Dark World access on the off chance that Osora finds something interesting in here and is just going to pick up the crystal in Eastern. Also possible. First check Castle Tower, not anything interesting. Sweet Dancing going to go for the second one. Ah, magic bag full of swag in the Dark Maze. A check to be named later. So we've got everybody in Eastern Dungeons except for Sweet Dancing, who is up on the mountain doing mountain things. Looks like the Spike Cave play, which we have seen. There is Helmsor King down for Osora. Bumble is heading in that direction. Sea Fate is potentially also heading in that direction. And that is a second crystal. Okay, so we're gaining access to crystal dungeons. We're going to need to be able to beat all 3 pendants eventually. What was that, a Bombo Sentry to Turtle Rock? Not that it really matters when you don't have a red cane, but, you know, something to pay attention to for later, maybe. And Osora with the hover of Hookshot Cave. We've got a big key. That big key goes to Desert Palace. All right. Tin sticks, not nearly so interesting. Sea Fate's gonna give us a bat. Ooh, the fire rod. So, yeah, if you don't hover, you're gonna want a hookshot. That seems pretty obvious. And all of a sudden, that play into Ganon's tower looks really appealing. Now, this is a bit of an unfortunate spot for the Hyrule Houlihans because the hookshot, which Sea Fate does have, was, unless I completely misunderstood what I was looking at on the screen, in one of those 6 key-locked locations in Palace of Darkness in the Harmless Hellway, and Bumble did not have enough keys to get into that. Looks like Thieves Town has one of our pendants, and Sea Fate is into the back of it. It looks like with 2 crystals on the board for Osora that maybe Drei Nasen has decided, okay, this is the division of labor that we want, and let's go ahead and start doing those things. No, it's a good thing that nobody decided they were going to come in here just for first check swamp, because 20 bucks wasn't going to change anybody's seed. Second check with one of those pod smalls. It sure looks like Hyrule Houlihans are going to need to happen upon some more of those. And Osora does have a red cane out of this play into Ganon's Tower, so Drei Nasen looks like they are in a pretty comfortable state as far as being able to beat dungeons all of a sudden. Blind down and a pendant for Sea Fate there, as Osora decides to absolutely fill the Ice Armos full of silver arrows. For a compass, another compass, and a small key to rock. Turtle Rock really... I mean, it's reasonably dense in the number of checks that you can get. You don't have an ice rod, so you can't complete it, but we're starting to get down to that point where maybe it's just in there? Question mark? One of those things that Rando just does sometimes. Ah, yes, also Bombos still required for entry to Turtle Rock, but, you know. It'll be somewhere. It has to be somewhere. Now, whether or not we can access it with current equipment is a separate question. That's entirely reasonable, Buddhist man, as far as why would you want to clear that as a crystal? That, by the same token, depending on how deeply you may or may not get baited into it for things you need to make your pendant clears, maybe you're deep enough in that you just want to get that crystal while you're there. Potentially. It's one of the interesting things about this mode, I feel, that sometimes what your go mode may actually be can kind of shift around as you're doing things that help out your partner. Sweet Dancing reaching the end of the hookless swamp play there. We'll see what happens next. Going to Flute 5 and get into the Dark World, so this should put the Houlihans on the path to that hookshot. Now, Bumble's been doing yeoman's work here, just gonna go ahead and bomb jump around. It says that hookshot has to be available somewhere. I'm just going to make these checks while I'm here. This is entirely reasonable. Another crystal on the board, Tower of Hera for Osora. That is 3 of the 5 required. And with that Fire Rod in hand, Osora with the Melt Source going to head into Ice Palace. Sweet Dancing is finally into the back of Pod here, is going to be on the way to that hook shot very shortly. And that's not a big key that you'd necessarily want to see, but if you wind up in Swamp Palace anyway, then, well, you have it. Osora has Swamp listed as the final pendant, so Osora kind of hopes not to go there. Well... Speaking of Sea Fate, potentially entering Mire, picking up that Mire Big out of Dark Cross. Looks like Sweet Dancing's first crystal is going to come out of Tower of Hera here after the Hard Hat Beetles get done giving him the business a little bit. So we are closing in on that 1 hour mark here in just a little bit, and as it looks like we're probably going to get into that rush toward the end before too much longer, I'm going to take the opportunity now to say Bumble, Sweet Dancing, Osora, and Seafate have been putting on quite the show for your entertainment on this Wednesday afternoon, or evening as the case may be for some of you. So go ahead and give them all a follow if you like the things they've been doing for you. And yeah, a little recap. This is Game 2 of the Open League's Light World Conference Finals. Drei, Nasen, tanken, currently up a game after winning 80 KDB, looking to close out the series here and go face the long shots in the grand final. Hyrule Houlihans looking to extend this one to a Game 3. Game 3, if that happens, is going to be Drei Nasen's pick. Don't believe that is on the table yet, but the things that still exist for that are Randomizer and co-op cross keys. Cold stare down on Osora's side. We've got Sweet Dancing picking up the things in Hookshot Cave for the Hyrule Houlihans. Inclusive, of course, of that Fire Rod. That is a solid collection of 4 crystals for Osora, though. That is definitely putting him in good stead to go ahead and grab one more out of, what, desert here? And then, thanks to that handy-dandy fast Ganon, all he's going to have to do is go to the pyramid, drop in, and fight a pig. Ah, Vitreous, you are supposed to lock those silvers away for a reason. You are very, very weak to them, and Seafate just blowing the whole thing up. Everything just explodes. And another pendant on the board for Seafate. Drei, Nasen, tanken, definitely looking strong in this one at the moment. We do have Bumble into Swamp here. I think this is I need a Pod Small to go and get my hookshot. But Blinken, you missed that back of Desert. Osora already holding that crystal up in the air. That is, count 'em, 5 Eastern Palace, Desert Palace, Tower of Hera, Palace of Darkness, and Ice Palace. 5 crystals on the board for Osora. Osora is indeed ready for a pig. Going to go ahead and stock up with a little potion here. Seafate trying to bypass the small key. This is not 80 key drop. You do not have a ton of Swamp Smalls in your inventory just because it's been an hour. You're going to have to get that one under the pot where it belongs. But here we are. We have one pig. We have literally just crossed the hour mark, an hour and about 10 seconds with a drop into the pig. That was a little greedy, Osora. You were not likely to ever make that work. But it's fine. You got those potions for a reason. You can life back up. Sea Fate, meanwhile, taking care of Argus into Phase 2, has one silver arrow to answer that Phase 2, and this should be, in point of fact, one final pendant on the board. The Sweet Dancing is heading in the direction of that as well. The problem for the Hyrule Houlihans is that Sea Fate is going to take that as the last of 3 pendants and go run over to Pedestal. As Osora finishes up Phase 3 here, needs to do a little Phase 4 with Master Sword action. Not always the most fun thing in the world. Does not get the torch glitch. But it's fine. You kind of don't want it even when you're just on Master Sword. You can make it work. One final stick into the pig explodes. Have a 15-second fanfare to wait out there as Sea Fate is pulling the pedestal. You dot down on ped pull as soon as the mosaic starts. There. So a very quick 1-2 finish. Sea Fate going to just ever so slightly edge out his teammate. 2 different goals, so you're going to see that happen. But with that, congratulations to Drei, Nasen, tanken, Toxic, who have put this series to bed 2-0 and are going to move on to the grand final. Entirely understandably, the Hyrule Houlihans are going to say, okay, we were not there and we were not close. We're going to say no mas to this one. Good game, guys. Or, however you sprechen Sie that in the Deutsch.
Hello!
We are joined by Osora here in the booth. Good game to you.
Thanks. And GG to our other players too.
Yeah, I do understand that we had a German language restream as well. I suspect that we have some people joining in on that one instead, but that's all well and good. Drei, Nasen, tanken, Toxic with this one, putting this series to bed 2-0, going to move on to the finals. So congratulations to you and your teammates.
Thank you.
Talk to me a little bit about the seed, because from the 30,000-foot view up here in the commentary booth, it really felt like the early game of this was a bunch of running around for not a whole lot of gain.
Yeah, the beginning of the seed was really straightforward, I think. I mean, Sea Fate found everything. I found only the hammer in the early game, so I don't feel really good, but I heard right in my stream my hover and hookshot cave was a good element to win the seed, because I never got the hookshot or spot because I only have 3 smalls. So yeah, and in hookshot cave it was fire rod and desert big, if I think right. If I remember.
There was a desert key in there for sure, and the fire rod was was certainly in there. And that hook shot was something that definitely eluded the Hyrule Houlihans for a while. They were a little short on keys, and with one of those keys in Swamp Palace, that was just not a position anybody wanted to be in.
Oh, oh, that sucks really.
Jo, GG. Moin.
Yo, GG Bumble.
We have
GG.
Bumble with us
Habt ihr den
from
richtigen
the-
Seed bekommen, Osora, Mann? Also ganz ehrlich, das war
It's
mir...
English.
Das war,
It's English here.
oh, sorry. My English not good.
Yeah, you're all right.
Yeah.
Everybody can get a little German flavor in their afternoon if they're over here on my side of the pond. It's fine.
Ja, ich meine im Endeffekt, ja, der Hookshot war halt ekelhaft, ne?
Ja, no change war's. Double Dip SP.
Doubled, yeah, minions say there was a pot small, right?
Dip Meyer for Swamp Small and ja. Nice.
Ja, ich meine, ich habe tatsächlich Pot gefinisht, ich habe hinten Licht aufgemacht, Seafed hat den Hookshot gefunden und ich habe halt oben Hookshot Cave gehovert.
Ja, klar.
Und ja, dann war es halt straightforward.
Hm.
You know, it's funny how much of this I can follow just because of all the rando terminology in it.
Yeah, right. I mean, the German and the English words in random are the same, right? So it's easy to follow.
I will say, Bumble, a good showing by the Hyrule Houlihans, even though you don't get to go and play for the Ultimate Open League prize. Being this far into the tournament does mean that you guys have punched your ticket. You get to go play in Invitational next year anyway.
Yeah. What was funny next season? I think it's very hard for us.
I'm convinced that it's not easy for anybody. So I don't know that you're saying anything that just about anybody else isn't saying. I think everybody who gets into Invitational just takes a look around and says, This is just Murderer's Row. It's monsters all the way down.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't. It's easy to win in the Invitational, right? But the Open League is also many surprises, I think. So we will see next year.
Yeah. Okay. I think I go nochmal SpeedGaming Germany commentary.
Yeah, thank you both for dropping by.
And
good game to you and your teammates as well.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you.
Thank you, and GG's Osora.
Thanks, GG to you
Good
too.
luck in the finals.
I do my best.
Okay, and thanks for the
See you.
restream, and see you.
Yeah, thanks for commentary, Minium. Thanks for restream, and I hope we got a restream on the finals.
I really cannot imagine the world where we don't find channels for finals games.
So I wish everything a really nice day, and we see you.
All right, now it's just me, and we don't get to wrap this up because the way SpeedGaming's internal structure works, if I say that we're done here, it'll shut the German restream down too while they're still doing interviews, and yeah, that's not where we want to be. So let's, while we've got a couple of minutes, let's go ahead and talk about some grand final action. We are going to have Drei, Nasen, Tanken, Toxic, who took this series over the Houlihans 2-0. They're going to represent the Open League's Light World Conference, now representing the Dark World Conference, as mentioned a couple of times while this game was ongoing, and one of their members was here in chat kind of scouting the opposition, Tyler Salt of the Longshots. Longshots had their own path to the finals. They're going to represent the Dark World Conference of Open League, and the two of these teams are going to face off in another one of these best of 3 co-op series. We're going to see who brings home the ultimate prize. It'll be a little interesting. We We had last year, we had the team that became Banana Brigade in Invitational this year versus Crystal Roller Crew, and both of them made Invitational playoffs this season. It had pretty solid runs for themselves. Crystal Roller Crew eventually fell out to one of the conference finalists in Don't Forget to Track Us. That's again, you're an Invitational. They're all difficult matchups, but man, I don't want to play Don't Forget to Track Us. They're all so good. But the teams that made it up, 4 teams that got their invites out of Open League into Invitational last year, certainly made strong showings for themselves. 3 of the 4 went in and made playoffs. One of them only missed to one of the teams that did make it in on a tie break. They were both 6 and 8 teams. So we've got 4 new teams this year that are going to get their official invites from doing a whole lot of winning in Open League this year. We'll have to wait and see how that goes for them, but for at least a couple of them, Drei, Nasen, and Longshots, there are still a few more games to be played. We'll see how those go for them. Those are largely the things that I need to say. I'm going to, as much as it's not something that you normally want to do, I think we'll just allow a little dead air here while the SpeedGaming Deutsch side does their interviews with all of the runners. As you can tell, they may have a few things to say about this, but I think we can all over in the English-speaking lands understand that they might want to do that in their own personal native tongues, and we have a great deal of appreciation for those of them who have gotten to the point where they feel comfortable coming in and talking to us in the language we understand. Now, if people wanted to come in and speak Japanese, that would work for me, but that might not work for everybody either. I get it. But until such time, I hope everybody was entertained in the SpeedGaming 2 chat here. I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Look forward to the finals of Open League coming soon, TM, as we're still waiting on some Invitational League conference finals to get done. We still don't have those on the board yet, so I cannot tell you when exactly we're going to get that wrapped up. But hey, I just sit here and talk about it. That's for all of those runners to figure out, and if necessary, the league admins to say, "Hey guys, we're going to give you the little stick poke do stuff meme, do stuff like that schedule and things." But hey, that's them. This is me. I'm MindEM for Osora, Sea Fade, Bumble, and Sweet Dancing 89, the Hyrule Houlihans, Drei, Nasen, tanken Toxic. Thank you so much for dropping by and spending some time with us on a Wednesday afternoon/evening. But, yep, I'm done here. I've said the things that needed to be said and done the things that need to be done. Speedgaming.org/schedule, just in case you want some other speed gaming action in your life that's not necessarily going to be linked to the past randomizer. I suspect there are a few things going on over the course of the day. You can hang around the Speed Gaming family of channels if you are of a mind to do so. But as for me, I'm out of here because it's lunchtime. Bye for now, everybody.